Hello and welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Olajmoke Olatunji. Reactions have continued to trail the outcome of the governorship election petition tribunal in Rivers State and other states. Governor Nyesom Wike had his election annulled by the tribunal, while the Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa had his upheld. And this reporter correspondent Jamil Fagbo sought views of some politicians on the matter.
The general elections are long gone, and all the political structures have taken or are taking shape. But for some states, the battle for electoral positions are still on. The electoral law stipulates tribunals to be set up where there are grievances, and these tribunals are just about rounding up or disposing cases. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State retained his seat following the dismissal of cases filed by two of his main contenders, Great Ogboru of the Labour Party and the All Progressive Congress candidates, Ortega Omero. But by far the most outstanding of these tribunal cases is that of Rivers State, where Governor Nyesom Wike and 21 members of the State Assembly have also had their elections annulled. This has caused a reaction from certain political quarters.
Well, my thinking is that the tribunals are doing their job. And you know, judgment is something that is mainly technical. So if you are not in the tribunal, you may not understand what is really happening. And whoever petitions must prove before the court or before the tribunal whether his case has merit or not.
INEC itself, and I think the tribunal itself, are they sincere? Is it a ploy to sabotage the democracy that we are practicing? For us to be able to have a successful and good governance, all of us must remember that we must come collectively, regardless of our political affiliation. This issue of tribunal, tomorrow here, next tomorrow there, what are we talking about?
Allegations are rife about influences from President Muhammadu Buhari on the tribunals, as some Nigerians, especially supporters of the People's Democratic Party and supporters of the candidate themselves, claim there was influences.
The party expects the judiciary as an institution to restore its image by taking immediate measures to protect itself from political interferences, as well as ensure that needed steps are taken at the appellate levels to remedy the embarrassing ruling by some of the election petition tribunals.
Since before he was elected, he said he will make sure there is an independent judicial system and the police and other security, because he don't want any involvement in the issue of tribunals, judiciaries, and even us legislative. You can hear him when we are about to elect the speaker. He said he is not involved himself, and he lets us choose our speaker.
The judiciary has severally been accused of injustices where it comes to electoral petitions. But some legislators and politicians are quick to dismiss this, saying the judges are doing their jobs.
I recall very well that when the same judiciary allowed 6 of the Federal House of Representatives members' petitions in Rivers to stand, they all jubilated and praised the judiciary. Now the same judiciary has also said that the governorship election should be rerun and has 10 houses of assembly, and they now say it is not good.
Everybody knows what has happened, particularly in Rivers State, in Akwa Ibom, and in some other few states, where violence took the center stage, and in most cases the election did not take place. Even immediately after the election, all the reports from journalists, from observers, both domestic and international observers, they were on the same page.
As the nation awaits the final developments in the electoral cases, Nigerians believe and hope that all these processes are only leading to better ways of holding elections in the country in the future. Jamil Afegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Now, Florence Itagiwa, who is the former wife of the late editor-in-chief of Newswatch magazine, Daily Giwa, has reacted to the recent remarks made by the former Deputy Inspector General of Police, Chris Omeben, that the late Giwa was careless in maintaining a relationship with his former wife, insisting that she has no apologies for having a good relationship with the late journalist, despite their separation, which was amicable. Omeben, who clocked 80, was in charge of investigating the murder of the late journalist in 1986. Reacting to Omeben's remarks through her media assistant, Jonathan Eze, Itagiwa described comments credited to Omeben as indicative of a mind rapidly progressing into dementia and of somebody who's desperately trying to cover up his incompetence with regards to the case. Itagiwa denied the allegation that her houseboy was the one who delivered the letter bomb to the late Giwa. Abuja residents came out in droves to participate in the Walkaway Cancer Trek in commemoration of the World Cancer Week. The more than 50-kilometer walk is meant to raise awareness on the ravaging reality of the squat and appointed to exercise as one way of maintaining a healthy body. Organizers of the walk and wife of the Kebbi State Governor, Aisha Bagudu, says regular and early detection is a big plus for treatment and management of the disease.
If everybody takes up this mantra and tries to do something similar, and they see that people in leadership and political figures are also supporting this awareness program and know that, yes, this is a disease, it's not something that we should hide. We had the wife of the vice president here earlier who was ably representing Her Excellency, the wife of the president. And so, you know, we have our leaders, the people that matter and are close to the decision makers, are here to make the message go across to everybody.
Kebbi State is delighted to be associated with this committed and energetic noble undertaking by Medicaid Foundation. So we thank all the people who are here, and we believe with this kind of commitment, cancer would be eliminated.
Hello, Nigerians! We are all gathered here from all over the country. I came from Enugu. We are here because of cancer. Let me tell you something. When you have a plane load crash, everybody remains frozen for many months and months and months. But cancer is killing more than 20 plane loads of people in Nigeria, because 10 people die per hour from cancer in Nigeria. This is a disease that we must fight.
I believe and I'm very positive that we'll win this war against cancer. And I also encourage everybody here to be an advocate for this fight. And I believe God will always win. Anything we do, na God we know, na God we know, na God we know.
Well, this is a good development. It's something that everybody should encourage, but it's also a signal to the present government to devote more time to cancer issues.
And the medical team adopted on Friday, October 16, 2015, by yet-to-be-identified kidnappers at Uburu-Ekwa in the local government area of Imo State has been rescued by the police 8 days after their adoption. Narrating the ordeal to journalists, one of the victims, Ann Usman, said the deal of freedom was made possible following the incessant police patrol in the area where they were kept. Usman, who is a nurse and works with the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, ordered that the medical team were abducted on the way to Uburu-Ekwa while on a medical mission to the community. She said the free medical exercise was organized by the General Secretary of Nigerian Diaspora Organization in Americas, USA, Apollos Okuchu Unwawa. She said a young man clad in civil defense regiment with an AK-47 rifle jumped down from the SUV and ordered them to come down. She noted that the gang brought new victims to their den on a daily basis. Other than the other 2 other colleagues were released before her. She said that when she asked them why she was not released alongside others, they slapped her and said the ransom had not been paid. Now, youths have taken to the streets of the Imo State capital, Owerri, to celebrate the victory of the state's governor, Brachez Okorocha at the Supreme Court in the case brought by Emeka Hedioha of the People's Democratic Party, challenging his election as the governor. The youth also say they are not only celebrating his victory, but his many accomplishments in the office as governor. Correspondent Ajibade Awofeso has more in the story.
Youths in their hundreds took to the streets in solidarity march, chanting pro-Rocha songs. The popular Owerri city was taken over by celebration at every corner, even in the governor's absence. The deputy chief of staff who addressed the youths at the government house premises reiterates the governor's support for the Imolites youth.
The fundamental achievement of His Excellency. We can see people celebrating the infrastructural input of the government to the people of the state. We can see people celebrating the victory of a governor who has done so well for the people of Imo State.
Some of the youth who came around wore PDP regalia, demonstrating high level of oneness. Honorable Kingsley Uju also took time to call on all Imolites to shun politics of bitterness and embrace unity for the ultimate growth of the state.
Well, we advise our brothers and sisters in the other side of the politics, the opposition party. I will advise them to join hands and close rank to the government of the day, because this is the only means through which development and achievements of and policies of the government will be adequately guaranteed.
However, on the part of the youth, the celebration still continues, not just for victory alone, but also in appreciation to Governor Rocha's good works. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
It is not yet Uhuru for the embattled president of the Nigerian Senate, as the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja dismissed all the relief sought by Senate President Bukola Saraki, challenging the legality of his arraignment at the Code of Conduct Tribunal. When a 2-1 judgment delivered by Justice Adumin, the court held that the CCT was properly constituted and has jurisdiction over the case filed by the Code of Conduct Bureau. In his appeal, Bukola Saraki had challenged the powers of the tribunal to prosecute him on behalf of the federal government on an alleged false declaration of assets. Now, recently, the president of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, has been abroad with the allegation of false declaration of his assets and operating a foreign bank account while serving as executive governor of Kwara State by the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal with a 13-count corruption charge hanging on his neck. His woes were further compounded when the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja ruled that he has a case to answer on the allegations profiled against him by the CCB. Our correspondent Nato Elabaro went to town to get the views of Nigerians on the looming legal crisis being faced by the President of the Senate.
Judged by the Court of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal, Bukola Saraki had described his arraignment as politically motivated witch hunt and proceeded to the appellate court to challenge the jurisdiction of the CCB. But his spirit's fight to stop the wheel of justice has been denied by a 2-1 verdict of the panel justice. For some people, there should be transparency and due process followed in adjudicating the trial of the President of the Senate, while enjoining him to vacate his position to create an ambience of fairness.
Let the court do their work. Impartially, let them fear God in what they do. Ordinarily, in other climes, people occupying such seats as Saraki is occupying would probably step down. In elsewhere.
About Saraki's trial, what I just feel is that for the sake of efficiency, he should be asked to resign from that position. The reason is that the Senate is in charge of appropriation and budgeting process. If he gives too much money to Code of Conduct Tribunal, people might think that maybe he's trying to bribe them.
To some Nigerians, justice must be seen to be done no matter whose horse is God.
Nigerians would rather want to see a unity against corruption. A unity, that will not necessarily discriminate. All people who offend the law should go through the appropriate prosecution and be brought, before the law.
Saraki has been indicted. It has been an accused person. So far, he has entered dock. I think it's only the accused person that normally enter dock. And what we are looking at in Nigeria today is that somebody of his caliber giving a false information about his asset. That is exactly the way the Code of Conduct Bureau report it. And they have been setting a panel for him, which Code of Conduct Tribunal. So let's wait for the judgment.
But expected from the Saraki camp, the judgment is going to be appealed against at the Supreme Court. Nigerians await the outcome of the verdict of the highest court in the land when it does happen with great expectation.
And the People's Democratic Party commended its senators for toeing the path of honor by staging a walkout rather than confirm former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi as minister. It also accused the Buhari administration of paying lip service to anti-corruption crusade. Now we'll bring you details of that report subsequently. Reactions have continued to trail the confirmation of ministerial list sent by President Muhammadu Buhari. However, the ratio of women to men on the ministerial list under this administration was brought to the front line. Our correspondent Manuel Ajayi, who took to the streets, something women's opinion brought this report.
The role of women in nation building cannot be overemphasized. It could be recalled that under the administration of the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, appointed 13 female ministers in the quest for more women representation in governance. Throughout the 8 years in office of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, appointed only 9 female ministers. Late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua had 7 female ministers in his cabinet. Is there a decline with the present list of female ministers? Nigerians react on the ratio of 6 women to 30 men on the ministerial list.
We have not been given the fair share that we're supposed to be giving. Women are the nation builders, apart from family builders. So I believe women can add positively to the development of this nation.
They don't carry our women along. They are carrying both their men along. Because if they carry 10, if they need the 10 people now, supposed to carry 6 women, 4 men. But this our Nigeria now, they know they do like that. They just carry the men. If they need 20 people, they'll carry men 15, women 5. And that's what they do for this Nigeria. Our blood, they know they do like that.
Will the high ratio of men in the list bring better performance? These Nigerians are quite optimistic on the number of men, saying they will uphold the change mantra of the president.
Last time, majority of the ministers were women. So I think now men should at least be given a chance to do politics too.
So you're quite comfortable that you just have 6 out of 6?
Kind of.
At least, since they have started with 6, we hope that tomorrow we'll have equal of it.
As Nigerians anxiously wait for minister-designate to be given portfolios, it is expected that they will perform beyond the expectations of Nigerians. Emmanuel Ajayi, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Z4 will take a break now, but back on more stories. Please stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Thank you for joining us again. Now, for more on the news and other programs, please visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can follow us on Twitter, CoreTV News NG. Also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CoreTV_News. Our President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over the death of the immediate past senator representing Plateau North Senatorial District and People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in the April 11, 2015 election, Senator Yang Wajuk. The president, while speaking in India, said Wajuk's demise is a great loss to Plateau State and Nigeria, as he has contributed immensely to the enthronement of peace and development in the country. President Buhari prayed that God Almighty will comfort his family and all who mourn the deceased senator and grant his soul eternal rest. Now, the newly appointed Operation Controller Lauren Field Office of the Department of Petroleum Resources, Salvation Ngazado, has read out riot acts to petroleum marketers in Kwara State to desist from various illegal activities that could lead to economic loss in the country. While addressing the stakeholders at an interactive forum, the new DPR boss warned against illegal construction of filling stations, diversion of fuel, hoarding and overpricing of fuel, among other illegal practices. Rashid has it.
The Operations Controller, Ilorin Field Office of the Department of Petroleum Resources, Salvation in Ngazado, has advocated the need for strategic reasoning and cooperation for the survival of the oil industry in these hard times. While reading riot act to marketers, he frowned against indiscriminate construction of filling stations, diversion of fuel, hoarding and overpricing and buying of stolen products. The DPR boss also condemned product adulteration and discharging of products without proper documentation, warning that full wrath of the law will be visited on offenders.
What are they? Indiscriminate illegal construction, citing location of petrol outlets without appropriate approvals. We will stand shoulder to shoulder. We will mix federal rights with state authority to ensure compliance. Government has the responsibility to create the enabling environment for enterprise to grow and flourish. That the era of products meant for Kwara State ending up in other states of the Federation, that era has ended.
Addressing journalists, the state chairman of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, Okonlawon Olanrewaju, also decried the construction of illegal filling stations and called for joint sanctions to correct the situation.
It was true there are some filling stations that were built without approval. And we don't know, it does not mean I don't know what is happening to those people. You know, before you become a member of IPMA, you have to complete your station and apply to be a member. Most of them are not our members. They are not our members. But it's strange that most of them supposed to apply, are supposed to go through normal process. Because most of the stations are standard. They are qualified to be a member, they are qualified to obtain license. But I can't just say the reason why they were doing it illegally.
As the DPR gets set to correct the anomaly in the oil industry, it is expected that both the DPR and marketers will join hands together for the benefit of the people. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Now in Osun State, where the state government and lecturers in the 4 state-owned tertiary institutions like the Polytechnic and Colleges of Education have finally agreed to shed their sword. This agreement brings to an end the industrial action backed by the Council of Academic Staff Unions of Osun State-owned tertiary institutions, which led to the closure of all the institutions for over 7 months. Signing the agreement at the governor's office in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, Secretary of the Union, Olusegun Lano, says the suspension of the strike follows government's decision to accede to their demands. On his part, the Chief of Staff, Boyega Oyetola, who represented Governor Ralph Areweshala, appealed to the lecturers to build the required trust in the government to foster peace. Now, the Federal Capital Territory authorities have met Fulani herdsmen in the aftermath of the recent attacks in Yakasa that led 7 people dead. FCT Permanent Secretary John Chuku led the team to an emergency meeting with some leaders of the victims of the suspected armed robbery attack. Now, this is with a view to averting a reprisal attack on neighboring communities. The Permanent Secretary, who held the meeting in his office, emphasized the need for law and order, assuring that the perpetrators would be apprehended and urged them not to take the laws into their hands. It may be recalled the unknown hoodlums attacked a Fulani settlement in Keti, Yakasa, a suburb of Abuja, on Tuesday night, killing 7 persons and injuring 5 others. Now, the inception of the current administration of Governor Simeon Lalong, the Plateau communal clashes, which has lasted over a decade, soared. Now, this led the government into setting up a 14-man peace and reconciliatory committee with a mandate of finding the remote and immediate causes of the crisis with a view of finding a permanent solution. The committee has submitted its report, which was received by the Secretary to the state government. The details.
It was inaugurated on the 5th of August 2015 to find a lasting solution to the crisis in some communities in Just South. Riyam and Bakin Ladi LGAs submitted its report and was received by the Secretary to the state government. The committee, which was made up of 14 members, 7 each from the Beram and Fulani extraction, had its chairman and secretary provided by the state government.
I want to assure you that His Excellency, in almost all the reports that have been submitted, has made sure that they are implemented, and this one is not going to be an exception, because this one is what will give us the license to bring back our economy. This one will give us the license to make sure that the people of Plateau are respected everywhere we go. This one will give us the license to bring back investors to Plateau State. And this one will give us the license to maintain that name that we call ourselves the home of peace and tourism.
The committee chairman stated that the recommendations made in the report can be relied upon for a lasting solution to the perennial crisis because all the warring parties were allowed to make input during the sittings of the committee.
Suffice it to say that the recommendations reached in this report were as a result of general consensus by the two groups. Under the watchful eyes of our technical advisors, the humanitarian dialogue, whose initial work also helped the committee.
The people of the warring communities have been warned that they stand the risk of being left behind in the scheme of things if they don't seek and pursue peace vigorously, because peace is the panacea to development.
We'll take another break. I'll be back with more stories. Please do this again.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. They don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to the recruit. I said to hell
on Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge. You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And outside Nigeria, Egyptian officials say a Russian airliner which crashed into central Sinai early on Saturday killed all 224 people on board. The Airbus A321, which was traveling from the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh bound for the Russian city of St. Petersburg, crashed a few minutes after takeoff. Its wreckage has been found in the Hassana area and borders removed, along with the plane's black box, with an official describing the scene as a tragic scene with bodies of victims still trapped in seats. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared Sunday a day of mourning. He has ordered an official investigation into the crash and for rescue teams to be sent to the crash site. Egyptian officials say 214 of the passengers were Russian and 3 Ukraine. A commission headed by Russian Transport Minister Maskin Sokolov is to leave for Egypt on Saturday afternoon. A criminal case has also been opened against the airline for violation of rules of flight and preparation for them. Russia's RIA news agency reported that a raid has also been reported on the offices of the airline in Moscow as part of investigations into the crash. At least 61 people have been killed and over 100 others wounded after Syrian government airstrikes targeted a marketplace in the Damascus suburb. An officer of the Syrian Civil Defense in the Damascus branch said the air raid struck a busy market in Derma on early Friday. Witnesses said missiles were fired into the marketplace in the rebel-held part of Derma, disclosing that the toll is expected to rise as people are being pulled out of damaged buildings. Derma is the east of Damascus, which has been under intense government attack for weeks. Now, major powers meeting in Vienna failed to reach an agreement on Syria, especially the future role of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Addressing journalists, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said there were tough conversations at the meeting, Pyongyang pointing out that this is the beginning of a new diplomatic process. Kerry acknowledged that those present have major differences on the Assad regime. French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius disclosed that all issues were and there were points of disagreement, but they advanced enough to meet again in 2 weeks. On his part, the European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said there is hope for a political process to advance. Now, chaos erupted today in a Slovenian border town as thousands of people pushed through metal barriers and a police cordon to force their way into Austrian. Several people, many holding children in their arms, were seen collapsing amid the melee on Friday near the Slovenian refugee camp in Sentia on the border with Austria. Reports revealed that an estimated 3,000 people managed to cross the border into Austria, while around 4,500 more are waiting to cross into the Slovenia side. Thus, refugees are expected to stay in the area throughout this night until authorities in Slovenia and Austria reopen the border. At least 22 migrants, mostly children, have drowned while trying to reach Kalymnos and Rhodes from Turkey. Greek officials said 19 people died and 138 persons were rescued near Kalymnos in the second major boat tragedy of Greek islands this week. Meanwhile, rescuers in southern Spain are searching for 35 migrants missing after their boat broke up en route from Morocco. It will be recorded thousands, usually packed on a seaworthy boats, have been arriving in Lesbos every day after making the dangerous journey from Turkey. And in sports, the People's Elephants will be visiting Umayyah with the intention of breaking the jinx of never defeating their Oriental brothers in the Premier League since the capital club made it to the elite class 2 seasons ago in their previous 3 meetings. Abia Warriors have an edge with a win and 2 draws, but Enyimba, in its current 65 points, lead their neighbors by 15 points. Meanwhile, the Abia Warriors chairman Emeka Inyama has called on the Enyimba and Abia Warriors officials, players and supporters to maintain high sense of decorum before, during and after the game on Sunday. Now, Toro Rosso's Max Verstappen set the pace in first practice at the Mexican Grand Prix as new world champion Lewis Hamilton was 11th. Verstappen, an 18-year-old rookie, was 0.305 seconds quicker than Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo at F1 returned to Mexico City for the first time since 1992. The new surface at the murdered Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez caused problems with a lack of grip as many drivers ran wide and some spun as they learned the circuit. Now, Philippe Coutinho scored a brace as Liverpool came from behind to beat Chelsea 3-1 and increased the pressure in Jose Mourinho. Mourinho went into the match amid speculation he could lose his job with a defeat, but the Chelsea supporters made a clear show of support for their manager at the start of the match. The home side responded with a quick-fire goal as Ramos sent a header past Simeon Miguelet from Cesar cross with just 4 minutes played. Liverpool went in search of an equalizer but struggled to truly test Asmir Begovic until the final seconds of the half, when Philippines created space on the edge of the area before curling a super shot into the far corner to make it 1-1. Mark Clattenburg then decided against giving Lucas a second yellow card for a foul on Ramos amid strong protestations from Ohio and the Chelsea players. Oscar came close to restoring Chelsea's lead with 20 minutes to play, winning the ball before firing off a stunning shot from just inside the Liverpool half that brought a good save from Mignolet. Soon afterwards, though, Coutinho gave Liverpool the lead, sending a shot into the top corner via a deflection from John Terry that led to Begovic with no chance. Mourinho brought in a Radamel Fascio, but their fate wasn't after the change. Christian Benteke then increased Liverpool's lead in the 83rd minute, sending a shot through Gary's leg to leave the Premier League champions with just 11 points from 11 games. Well, that is a wrap up CoreTV News at 4 minutes. Thanks for watching. I'm Olajumoke Olatiju. Good afternoon.